I was going to say before we start, you're outdoing me on the background now, especially I think with the Hamnet poster.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And you also have like a physical cinema ticket, which, whilst it doesn't look like a classic film cinema ticket, it's better than a receipt.
I have a few, which are really cool. I have my like London Film Festival ones that I like managed to sneak into screenings and stuff. This is now gonna all fall apart. This is
Yeah, I
great.
realized that I've
Ah.
caused like a cascading effect.
It's okay. The Hamlet thing was really cool. Um, Wait, maybe I'll get into it when we talk about Hamlet. No,
Oh dear. Oh dear. This is all a
it's in
setup.
the fireplace.
This is all a setup to make you a fool at the start of the episode.
No, shit. Well,
I'll
welcome
introduce.
back to Plot to Go. Episode number 40. Wait, we didn't even 42? 43.
It was
42.
43.
43, shit.
Yeah, yeah.
My name's Jack,
My name's Owen.
and this week we are continuing my discussions of London Film Festival because that is now wrapped. I saw an obscene amount of movies. The amount of people that messaged me through social media being like, how are you doing this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I've been working at the same time this week, so I don't know." Um,
That
yeah,
is wild.
and 31 films in total. So I've done a few film festivals. This is the most films I've seen at a film festival, and I've had a full-time job.
When the fuck was
Um,
31? I thought the last one I
uh,
saw you watch was 30.
31 was last night, like night,
Right.
late night. And because the film festival made its way throughout the country, there was like other screenings on throughout the UK. Owen caught Hamnet, so we're going to fully talk about Hamnet and actually have a discussion on that.
Guys, I saw
Non-spoilers
one.
for all of these
Guys, I
movies.
saw
You
one.
made it. Honestly, I am shocked that I mean, I was surprised when I was messaging you and you said that you've managed to see one. So
Look, Jack, we've
I'm
got a
proud of
really
you.
good assistant. Our assistant is
Oh, great.
very good. Yeah.
So it was not you that managed to book the tickets.
No, no. They got up in the morning and just went straight on to book tickets. That and Frankenstein, actually, which is next week's
Lovely,
episode,
which we'll be talking about next week. Yeah,
which
which
is
I
the
didn't
same.
get to see.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's kind of cool that that's the other one that I got to see then.
Yeah,
I'm still pissed about Knives Out though. Still not happy about it.
it'll get a cinema release. That's definitely something that's like
Oh, it's out in the
you're not
end of
going to have an
November, but
issue.
it's still like,
Mm.
and also like November to me is Murder Mystery Month. Take that for
Oh,
what you will. I think I have an association
yeah,
with it
okay.
because like spooky season October, whenever there's like murder mysteries, they're normally in like a fall kind of like the original Knives Out, like kind of like old money vibe. And then I think I also
Hmm.
did like a book club Agatha Christie in November one year. So November is like murder mystery month.
See, that's so interesting to me because I just pin it in with like October and Halloween and all that kind of stuff.
It's like
Huh.
soft spooky
Well,
though.
that's yeah. Well, when you don't like horror, that is like just spooky. So, um, yeah. What should we start with? Do you want to start with Hamnet or
I think that
end
makes
on
sense.
Hamnet? Start on Hamnet. Let's start with
Yeah.
Hamnet.
Then I just get to nod along
Um,
for the rest of the episode.
don't do that. By the way, I'm not going to go as in depth as I went last week because I think last week I ended at like 11 films. So I've seen 20
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah.
Um, it'll be very much like brief
I was
impressions.
also shocked by how long you spoke for last time because I realized it was
Hmm.
long in the recording, but also when I went back and I was chaptering the video, it's more than what we spoke about for whatever the film was that week, whatever film we both saw that week.
Hmm. That
Your
makes
your
sense because
part
it's a
was
lot of
longer.
movies.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
actually, before we get into any of this shit, I'm
Hmm.
starting with something else. I saw
Uh,
Tron Ares.
Oh, okay.
If you've been keeping up with the saga of the last few episodes, Owen was definitely going to see this movie, and I was not going to have the time, and it ended up being the complete reverse. And I got a
Yep.
message from Owen being like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. No,
Yeah, I
not
was like, I'm
doing
not carving my time out of my busy schedule to go see Tron Ares.
it." It was a great message as well because you also were like,
You don't have to do
like,
it.
don't go see it. You don't have to.
I was also like,
But
don't give them. We shouldn't be giving them our money.
yeah. Well, I don't know how much I've t told you about this. Basically, I tried to get into Frankenstein. Frankenstein was showing at the BFI IMAX at a public screening, so I like paced it from work down there, and I got into the standby queue, and the guy already he was like, "You're not getting in. Like, do something else with your time. Genuinely, there's no chance. They've not given back many tickets. People are not like refunding." So I didn't listen to him, and I decided to queue. Uh, literally, far more the queue got in than he even said. It was the person in front of me that was the last person in. So I missed it by one, which happened a few times actually during the festival. So it's like, fuck, I have to fill like a 4 hour gap before another film. And I don't want to waste my time like having trekked in. So I was like, well, what's on in the cinema? Oh, the only thing I haven't seen yet is Tron. And the only showing is a 4DX 3D showing of Tron.
And that's the bit I didn't know. That would have made the experience, I'm sure.
Right. For anybody that doesn't know, when did we start? Oh yeah, so the podcast wasn't around when Madam Web happened. Madam Web made me fall in love with 4DX. I saw Madam Web twice in 4DX. It was a phenomenal experience of like a real shitter of a movie and just getting like punched in the back and water sprayed. It was just great, like pairing with a bad movie. So I kind of had like a sneaking suspicion that I might enjoy Tron more because I'm getting this experience with it. Good Lord. Um, whatever engineer was in charge of the 4DX experience for that movie, uh-uh. Sorry. Back to the drawing board, please. I was thrown around that room and not in a fun way. Genuinely, there was multiple times in my seat where I was just like going down and then I like was falling off. It was so embarrassing. And it would not stop because it was like large 10-minute action sequences where the chair's just doing this. For anybody that's listening, audio, rapid back and forth movements. Um, it was nothing else is compared to it. I like even like roller coaster rides that I've done have not been that vigorous for that length of time. Like I genuinely thought I'd had a workout
It sounds like you
because
got the
I was
Prime
just
4DX experience. Like, I would
no.
assume the ones that we've used before haven't been recalibrated or anything in a long time. That sounds like that's like a fresh 4DX experience.
I mean, it was Leicester Square. It was like the 4DX cinema.
Yeah.
Basically nobody was there. It was just me. In like the first 4 rows getting thrown around. At one point, I went to take a drink and stuff happened, and it looked like I'd pissed myself. Like water went everywhere. The
Is that
coolest
the
part,
excuse that you're coming up with just in case the photos get out?
yes,
Just in
yep,
case the
yep, that's
photos
the
of
excuse.
pissy
Pissy
pants
pants
found in
Jack.
frames get passed around?
The coolest part, though, and I'll give it his credit, was when snow happened in the movie.
Hmm.
Because then they filled the cinema with snow, and also because I was watching it 3D, I genuinely was like, "Holy sh!" Like it was a cool experience to feel like I was in the movie for like 2 seconds. Because I actually took my glasses off. I was like, "How the fuck have they done that?" It was just foam.
Was the foam, where does the foam, I'm assuming the foam comes from above. It's not just like spread out
Um,
from the seats. Like
where
how
I was, it was like diagonal towards my face, and then it fell down in front of me.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
For anybody though that has been tuning in for the last few weeks that has been desperate for a Tron Ares review, my 1 minute review is this movie was bad. Shock. It's do you know what's really interesting? I saw a lot of like reviews and stuff beforehand, which I don't normally do, but a lot of them being like, this is the most like artistically devoid piece of like cinema that we've had in ages, and it's so regressive with its takes on AI and blah blah blah. This movie has nothing to say, like at all, with AI and anything like that. It was shockingly plain for a blockbuster, or like for a blockbuster to cause so much like hate. I expected it to be bad, and I still think the movie's bad, but I was just put in that camp of it's boring and it has nothing to
It's
say, and
flat.
that's why it's bad, not that it's bad,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Um,
I
I'm
mean, for
also
all
coming from
intents
the
and
pers
purposes, it looks like it's not badly made. Just that, like this, like this story is probably shit.
I mean, props where they're due. Like the production design is really cool. I mean, it's very hard to go wrong with black, like glossy black and neon red as like an aesthetic. It's very
Uh-huh.
hard to go wrong with that. But they do have some really cool like utilizations of the Tron world. As I should mention, I have not seen or I've seen 20 minutes of Tron. I tried to before watching it and timing. And I have not seen Tron Legacy, so I know there is like a love for that franchise. And I think that's maybe why this has caused such like an uproar of disappointment, is because
Uh-huh.
people are like, well, we're in an age of AI and you have the Tron franchise, which people love, and you've done nothing with it.
You've not seen Tron
I don't
Legacy?
know. I haven't, no.
I'm shocked at that.
Mm,
It's not like a good
I
film,
know.
so I'm not like that part doesn't surprise me. But like the fact that that never caught you as a child, never on like Sky Movies or something, and you didn't end up flicking over the channel to watch it.
I don't know. I guess what was it? Was that 2012?
2010, I think.
2010. I don't know. To be honest, maybe it just got like looped in with the camp of like Tomorrowland and like those Disney live action movies that just I like dismissed completely. Um,
That's fair.
who
To actually, they're kind of connected because Tomorrowland flopped and destroyed the other version of the sequel that was going to get made.
I listened to a whole history on Tron after I watched the film to kind of like just have an understanding of the world. Super interesting. There was a sequel planned for basically a decade.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, And this is that I think also what's probably pissing some people off as well is that this is so loosely tied to the Tron universe. Like uh there's brief mentions of is it Sam and Cora from Legacy?
I think so.
But really this is a sequel to Tron. It's really bizarre. Like the member berry kind of shit that they pull on is Tron stuff, not Tron Legacy, which
Mm.
feels really weird if you're trying to like recapture an audience that you got from Legacy. I don't know. Bizarre movie. Nine Inch Nails soundtrack's good. Um, I don't think it's incredible. There's some like nice tracks, but considering it's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, I think they've made far better scores for a lot of better movies. Like
Right.
I don't know. The performances are god awful across the board. Like truly horrendous. I don't know how Jared Leto was leading this movie. And Greta Lee is really disappointing, which sucks because she's so good in past lives. Um, yeah, a very bizarre movie. However, I will say in the first like half an hour, I was kind of confused as to why it was getting so much hate because there's like two really interesting action sequences. Like there's a really good light cycle chase, and then there's a like jet ski chase as well, and they're both like I don't know, fun utilizations of those concepts, and the music's great in them. Um, Yeah, but otherwise a very bland, boring movie, which is not, I think, something that you want when it's with the franchise of Tron, sadly.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
don't really even know what the original film's about. I think I started to watch a video that it was like 5 minutes long on TikTok. That's why I'm like, oh, I can even watch 5 minutes. That was explaining like the plot of the first film. I was like, I could just watch this. I don't need to watch somebody explain the plot to me. Um, but yeah, it's very focused on like the corporate world, which I
Hmm.
wasn't aware of because the sequel is just like the virtual world. It's not got all of that real world stuff
Ah,
in it. Um, so yeah, when you said memberberry, I think were the words you said.
yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Family Guy reference, no, where they like there's a thing called a member berry where they like eat a member berry and it's just like a reference to a oh, remember this? Remember when
Oh, I see.
Han Solo shot blah blah like yeah,
Yeah,
just
they
shit
have
like
like
that.
the yeah. It's always there's always like flashbacks in Family Guy. That's called a memberberry.
Yeah, I think so. I don't watch Family Guy, but that word has made its way into the zeitgeist.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, we made good in our promise that you'd get a review for Tron Ares, so
We
there you go. Hey, you were part of that.
okay.
Moving on to hopefully something that's slightly better. Hamnet, the new film by Chloe
Hamnet.
Zhao, starring Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley. If you don't know what this movie is, I feel like it is, I don't know, had quite a lot of buzz around it. But I also recognize that I have been so ingrained in Hamnet stuff since the production started. This movie is an adaptation based on a book that was published in 2020, I think, or 2019. It won the
Is
2020
that recent?
Booker Women's Prize. Yeah, written by Maggie O'Farrell, and it is a book about the child that Shakespeare and his wife had, Agnes, called Hamnet, and it is rumored, like historians kind of predict, that it was what inspired Shakespeare's play Hamlet. And the story is about Shakespeare and his wife grieving the death of their young child. That is not a spoiler. That is the premise of the movie. And I actually think when you sit down to watch this movie, you're kind of aware that that's going to happen. Even though it happens further into the film, that is the setup and the pretense for this movie. Um, Interestingly, I think this is one of the first movies that we're reviewing together since the
In a
move
while?
and everything. Yeah. I kind of want to, because we don't watch the films together, I'd love to, before we get into our reviews and stuff, hear about your experience of this or like viewing experiences.
Well, purely because it's a film festival film, and mine's will be quite different from yours, I'd assume. Like I
Mm,
um uh, my viewing experience, I don't think it was any different from any other film aside from perhaps the ending. It is one of those films where I mean this film is quite like emotional is a bit of a flat word for it, I think. Kind of
mm,
not depressing, but it leaves you with like a level of sorrow after the film where it kind of when the film ended, it's kind of just silent for a bit. I don't think anyone shifted from their seat as quickly as what people normally would. Um,
mm.
but yeah, the showing was pretty full. Actually, quite full, I think, because it is a film festival film too. But aside from that, mine was pretty bog standard film house showing, if I'm being honest. I just when I was going in, they were like, make sure you sit next to people, like move up. Oh, none of the seats were reserved, which is new
Hmm.
for like the film house screenings. But obviously, it was a film festival, so the idea is that you book your ticket. It's not first come first serve, but it's just get into a seat. Um, yeah, that was my experience.
So
Nothing particularly special.
you saw it in the Edinburgh Film House, which was the
Yep.
like hosting partner for London Film Festival.
Yes, it was indeed. I think I don't know how many films they showed. It was probably something like 12. Just based on
Mm,
like the image that I can remember in my brain of like each cinema that was partnered with the London Film Festival had a different screen that they threw up and be like, these are the films that we've got on in
mm,
this cinema. Um, so, for example, the film house had films like Wake Up Dead Man, Hamnet, and had Frankenstein. I think it also had Begonia, somewhere in between those three. Um, and then some smaller ones. I can't remember what the name of the film that was like African cinema was that you saw, but I'm pretty sure that was on. It's one of the last films that
My Father's Shadow.
showed. I think I think that was it. That was one of the like it's something between 10 and 12, I think. Um,
Cool. Did
yeah.
was it just interestingly, whenever I've done like film festival stuff, even when it's been up in Edinburgh, um, I always think that the audience there's like a different reaction or like sorry, like a different like feeling while you're there. There's an appreciation for cinema that maybe isn't always captured in traditional like general audience screenings. Did you
Hmm.
feel like that? Like because I'm assuming it was a packed cinema as well, which I think is getting rarer and rarer.
I think I felt that maybe not as I was watching the film because I was kind of in the film and I wasn't really thinking about the atmosphere of it, but
Mm,
sitting down and observing who was around me, um, there was a lot. I think the audience skewed a bit older, in general,
mm,
and I think oftentimes that makes me think that these people are like readers or people that are really into cinema, maybe go out of their way to look for
mm.
things that are on like a film festival, and that was kind of in stark contrast, maybe strong. But when I went to see Frankenstein, I saw a much larger cohort of like students compared to
Oh,
Hamnet.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. Um, I I got to go to the gala of this
the gala.
film, which I was not supposed to be going to. I shit you not, it was just like random chance that I managed to get a ticket um for the like UK premiere for this film. But in future, I now know that like even though my press and industry screenings are really cool, like they're in the morning, they're with like people who enjoy cinema and they're like very respectful. Um, the gala screenings are the like there's more of like a hubbub about it. Like there's more of a show put on for them. Like you get to walk the red carpet and you get to like see people there and whatever. Um, the venue that it's hosted at is 2,800 people, I think. So it's massive. It's the Royal Festival Hall, which is just humongous. To be in a room like that and watching a film with that many people is like it's kind of like an overwhelming experience. It's really, really bizarre. Um, but prior to the film starting, the cast and crew came out. Um, before the cast and crew came out, actually, we had oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. The director of 1917, what's his name? Sam Mendes. Sam Mendes.
Yeah, I've not seen
Um,
it.
Sam Mendes. Sam Mendes came out because he's one of the producers on the film, and he was talking about blah 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 blah. Hamnet great. I'd love to bring out somebody who gave me my first job to talk a little bit more about Hamnet, and I I knew that Steven Spielberg like gave him one of his first jobs, so I was in my chair like. Like I made a physical noise. So I was like, no way fucking Steven Spielberg is gonna come out. Sure enough, Steven Spielberg came out to be in a room with 2,000 film fans who did not know Steven Spielberg was gonna be there. The reaction was incredible. Um, I have a video up on my TikTok if anybody is curious. Steven Spielberg gave a like 2 3 minute speech about like why he believed in the project and Chloe Zhao and like him producing it, which was super, super interesting. Just super cool to be in a room with him. He seems like such an interesting person. And then he brought out Chloe Zhao, who led us all through a meditation prior to the movie starting. Uh, and again, like adding that layer of being in a room of 2,000 people and like performing meditation, like all these things that you wouldn't do with that large a number of people, I think was such a special experience. So everybody was like closing their eyes, and she did I'm really into yoga, so like a guided meditation. It felt very natural to me, but there was people around like giggling and like feeling all like uncomfortable and stuff. But it got to like the end of it. It was a few minutes long. She led us through this meditation, and it's like ending it with like big, like deep exhales and stuff. And people like there was less giggling. Like she managed to command a room full of, you know, a few thousand people and really get them to actually listen to her and like center themselves for what they were going to see. And yeah, the reason that she did it is she was like, this movie is meant to be in touch with like nature and like pure human emotions, and I really want you to access them and let the film like flow completely through you. Some people say it's like hokey and whatever. I live for that kind of shit, so I really enjoyed it. And I think it was just really interesting to see or to feel a like general consensus of, oh, maybe this is a bit silly, like completely flipped by the end of her meditation, people actually taking it seriously. There was bits where she got us to like look around at the people that we were sitting beside and like behind us and like actually accept that we are sitting beside people. And I
That's
imagine if
weird. That's
you
not
know
what I
if
was
you're there,
expecting you were going to say.
well, my friend
These
Leora,
people are
shout out.
real. These people are real.
Barry Keoghan was behind my friend. So she does this thing, and she turns around, and Barry Keoghan's there.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I don't know. It managed to really like I don't know put us all in this state to like enjoy the film. Um, Very special experience. It was very cool. This thing that I don't know I mentioned at the start of the movie is everybody got one of these. It's just a really lovely poster. It's the soundtrack. It's the vinyl for Hamnet,
But it's not.
which was
Is the
super
vinyl in
cool.
it?
No, it's sadly not the vinyl. I thought I was being given the vinyl, and I was like,
Oh, that's fucked
yeah.
up. I'm gonna steal that
Uh,
when I come visit. I'm just gonna.
you're absolutely not. So,
It's mine now. I never got to go, so it's
um,
that's what I'm taking for it.
oh, sorry, that's like retribution, isn't
My
it?
reward.
Okay, yeah. Um, but yeah, enough about the experience.
No,
Um,
actually,
Also,
just
like,
on that,
uh-huh.
I do think that might have been worth it because it took me a little bit to like change my mindset, like at the start of the film. Like I was just
Mm,
whiplash from real life. I think this is a film that you sit in, and having that beforehand might have helped.
I think it totally helps as well for people who were doing the film festival because you are like, I think I said it last week. Going from film to film to film to film, like your emotions are all over the place, and actually to get somebody in and regulate it, I mean that applies to real life as well, like whatever's going on in your life and trying to like dismiss that and really be present for a film. Um, it what now that you mention that, it is like why not package the film with something like that? I guess if it goes out to general audiences, then people really will be like laughing because it's a screen and
Yeah,
the person's not
that's not
there.
gonna land. Yeah,
So,
the director doing it is a
um,
bit different from a video package at the end, at the start.
yeah, a tad. Um, but yeah, thoughts on the film?
I don't normally like take much. I don't have that many notes, I guess, and I feel like I needs to take more notes to verbalize things more. Also, look at
Mm.
the fucking brightness on this. This is my new phone. Look, check
Jesus, you could
that
start
out.
a horror
Closer
movie on
lighting.
it.
um, right. Sorry. Literally, the first note I have is what I just said there. I think this is one of those films that you just kind of sit in and experience. It
Mm.
almost doesn't feel like you're watching a film in some ways. Like, I don't think it's slow enough to be uh called like a slow film. It's nothing like we talked about Patterson, I think, last week. It's not like that. It's not a film where you're just sitting and experiencing like the lives of these people, but it definitely feels like something that you're in. And even though there's all the filmmaking there of like it looks nice, or there's a part that has like a massive score, it is just something that you're there to like soak up and feel. And
Mm,
that's why I think that meditation at the start actually would have worked because it took me probably like a good 20 minutes to kind of just like clock what this film was. Um, like when you get into it immediately, you're sitting in like nature, and it really
hmm
wants to make you appreciate that. And you do as the film gets into it, but like walking off of a busy street into the cinema, it was just like whiplash. Um,
mm,
and you never really, I mean, I haven't watched any trailers for this film. I know generally what the story of Hamnet is like, but you never know what someone's take is going to be on that. So very easily, some other director could have not focused on the natural world as much and just focused on the relationship between the characters and had their own
hmm
take on it. So you don't know that that's going to be like that, and so sometimes it takes a while to you know change your brain to that atmosphere.
mm,
Um, Speaking of which, the atmosphere of each location is captured so well. So obviously, I spoke about the nature of it all, like the forest, but also like when you're in the cottages as well, like you just feel like
mm,
you're there. I think that speaks volumes to, um, for one, set design, um, and like costuming. I think as I get older, I come to appreciate those things so much more than I used to. I
mm,
don't know why it took me so long to see a period piece and just accept how much effort goes into making something look like the time period it was in. And that can be anything from
mm,
like the 50s to the 1800s. But specifically, I think I myself, maybe now having watched more TV shows and things, and you compare that to film, and it's normally noticeable in budgets. Um, it's so for UK audience. Like if you watch Horrible Histories, you can tell that is like a low budget like take on whatever time period they're in.
mm.
Even I was talking about watching the Shakespeare episode of Doctor Who, like that compared to something like this, or I've got to get Doctor Who in there, or a higher budget TV show like House of the Dragon. I think when you have like things like that, you it makes the world just feel lived in. That attention to detail.
hmm
Um, the cottages feeling like cramped in some spaces, airy in others. The use of natural lighting, the use of natural lighting, I love. Um, uh,
Before
oh,
you
and
move away
also,
from that,
yep.
it's interesting you pick up on that because immediately one of the things that we spoke about when we left the screening was how much this felt like her film, her being Chloe Zhao,
Hmm.
because she immediately, I mean, the way that she was being spoken about um, by like producers and stuff before she came out, and then when she spoke herself, it was this like ethereal being who had managed to like command this presence and was so like deeply in touch with nature and the natural world. And I think it comes across as you say, like through her use of locations and the way that the characters are in touch with the natural world, whatever. But I think also in the way that she's like able to garner humanity out of like the people that she's working with. Like it's all well and good to have these environments, but if the people don't feel natural in these environments, then it becomes like a movie. But like I don't know if you felt this way, especially in the beginning when you are dealing with like these sprawling bits of nature, like these, small little cottages and stuff. They felt so lived in by the people that were there. Like
Yeah.
it felt like a real family. It's just very interesting to see how like the merging of like the natural and the well, I guess humans are also natural, but like the natural world and the human world.
Yeah, no, I think it's so easy to either like have it so that you either fail in making it lived in, or to make that time period like almost like grotty or gritty for like no reason, like everything
Mm,
was disgusting, or but like it manages to you see them working, I think, and I think it's because you see them doing things that are involved in like their everyday life. Uh, there's a point where Shakespeare is
Hmm.
trying to make something, and there's obviously his dad's criticizing him for it, but just like them doing their everyday tasks, um, yeah, it feels very lived in. Um, I still also they show the Globe Theatre too. Um,
Yeah.
that they captured that atmosphere incredibly in
Mm,
many different ways. They show the managed to shoot the stage so that it looks like enormous and it isn't. It, like really, like the Globe Theatre isn't that big a place, but it feels like grandiose. You look at the audience and it's packed out, and
hmm
that feels at points also like claustrophobic because of the kind of turmoil that our main character's going through. I forgot her name, Agnes.
hmm
Um, but even at the thing that I clung on to when I saw that was the way that they shoot her walking through the doors to begin with. Like her exposure to the theater just feels huge.
mm.
Um, on performances, I you can maybe correct me on this. I think I've aside from this only seen Paul Mescal in Gladiator 2 because I've
No,
not watched Normal People or anything like that. Um,
surely that's not true.
I think that is the case. Yeah.
I'm actually I don't know
So
what to say to that. That's crazy.
yeah, so
Wow.
that's my impression of Paul Mescal. I still, even in this film, I don't think I particularly connect with his performances as much. I
Hmm.
do think he did Tortured Poet well. I did like it. I did think that he managed to like reach that character. Um, but this film isn't about him as well, so I didn't care as much for, you know, his side of things.
Hmm.
So
I
actually, for me, one of the weaker performances in the film, weirdly.
I would completely agree with you. I'm like it was weird. I was one of those things leaving the cinema. I was like, I don't know how to feel about him.
Mm,
Interestingly, I got a little bit of context provided to me by somebody who's read the book. Because I think this is also what you're getting at. He finds his way into the performance as the movie goes on. Like when he becomes Shakespeare, I thought I didn't have any qualms with his performance. I thought it was actually very good. It was early on in the movie that I was like, I something's not like sitting
yeah,
right with
first,
me.
especially those first like 15 minutes.
So, interestingly, at that point in time, Shakespeare's like 18 or like a kid. Like he's very young.
Mm,
And I don't think that comes across in the movie. And the whole reason why his marriage to Agnes was considered like strange and people didn't want it to happen was, and this is historical, was because of the age gap between them. I can't remember Agnes's age. I think she was 27 or something. So that is the reason why the families didn't want them to get married. None of that comes across in the movie for me particularly. I don't actually think they're in the movie they're actually looking to get at the fact that there's an age gap. I think they
mm,
are just being like, you know, uh, feuding families don't want two people to marry, and that's that. But I think it does recontextualize his performance for me, especially at the beginning of the movie, because it does feel childish and it feels a bit
mm,
out of place. But
mm.
I'm really interested to see on a rewatch if I feel better about his performance, knowing that he's actually like a child in
Yeah.
those moments.
No, that is interesting. It definitely on that feels like he's a child
Hmm.
when he comes like running up to Agnes and he's like, "We should get married," and it's like this really over the top thing, and I was like, why is this like 30-year-old man acting like a 15-year-old? So
Yeah,
that
no,
makes a
totally.
lot more sense. I don't know if it brings it up
Yeah.
for me, but like it helps me understand it at least.
Uh-huh.
Um, I love Jessie Buckley in this film. I think she has an excellent performance. Um,
Mm.
that's really where a lot of the emotional heart of this film is. She's the main protagonist. She's the one that the whole film is like on her back. Um,
Hmm.
I'm even looking at the poster on Letterboxd right now, and there's her and Paul Mescal on like the main poster, but the banner is her stood in front of the stage in the Globe Theatre.
Mm.
I think she's the one that really got you. You mentioned death as a point where she lets out a scream, I think, because of it, and that was really harrowing, and that got me choked up a bit.
Mm.
Uh, yep, they have a child. Well, they have two child actors in this film, but mainly Jacoby Jupe.
Hmm.
He plays Hamnet. I thought he was great. It's really difficult to get good child actors. Um, I actually can't remember specifically. I remember when I was watching the film being like, oh, that's incredible. I just don't remember what thing it was that made me go, oh, that's an incredible moment from a child actor. Like, I just found it so believable.
Mm.
Um, and I love. There's obviously the really heartwarming warming relationship between him and his mother, but they also show the really heartbreaking relationship between him and his father, like the stuff with his dad going away all the time. And I think that's the part that you were talking about where not obviously not at the start of the film because you don't quite know where it's going, but as soon as they have kids and you see him going away all the time, they really build it up because you just know that something's going to happen with the fact that the dad is away from the kids
Hmm.
all the time. You just know something harrowing is coming along. Um, and so they play on that really well. Even if you don't know what's coming, you know something's
Hmm.
coming. Um, I mentioned appreciating the costuming and the lighting. Also, on the Jacoby Jupe, they try and relate, like you said, Hamlet and Hamnet at the end of this film. And the way they
Hmm.
do that is by having a character, Hamlet, played by Jacoby Jupe's brother,
Yeah, no
Noah
joke.
Jupe, as just like another level to it. And I think I remember sitting there being like, we've cast him really well. I had no idea they were brothers. I found that out like a few hours ago, and I was like, "What the heck?" I think that was like a really nice, subtle thing to do for someone like me who has no idea who these actors are. Noah Jupe had been in something that I'd seen already. I think um, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. A Quiet Place,
I've
maybe.
seen him in a lot of indie movies that I imagine you've not,
Mm, yeah,
like random indie movies.
yep, yeah. There's been quite a lot actually. Not stuff that I would have
Yeah,
seen,
yeah,
but
yeah.
quite a lot. Um, anyway, yeah, I just thought it was crazy that they were related. Um, I like the way that this film touches on supernatural as well as natural.
Mm.
So everything kind of in that latter half of the film, or even at the start, they refer to Agnes, and this will be because of the age gap and everything. But she's almost like this forest person. I can't remember what they use exactly, wording wise, but
Do they not just call them witches? Like her whole, she
it might
comes
be
from a family
Forest
of
Witch.
witches.
It's yeah, something along those lines. And there's so much of that like littered throughout. Like
Hmm.
everything is told as if there's an extra layer of supernaturalness above it. Um,
Yep.
like we have things like the embodiment of death, and there's tricking death. There's the bird in the sky, like that's gone to heaven. And I love it because you can accept that as it is if you wanted to and be like, oh, there is these extra levels of things going on, or you can just accept it as the delusions of all the characters within the film, and just like their kind of reactions to the reality around them,
Hmm.
like the kid being like, I have tricked death. Like that's a really nice way of explaining the situation to the two children, but
Hmm.
the reality is different. um there's one gripe that I have with the film, and I feel like you'll probably disagree with me on it. It just bothered me at the end. I remember years ago watching a thing by the YouTuber Casey Neistat, where he was talking about using music that is already famously used for other things. Um,
Hmm.
and I totally agree with that point. Um, even without having had seen any major examples of it, except for I think in the Super Mario Brothers movie,
Hmm.
where they use the song from Shrek 2. I think it's I Need a Hero. I can't actually remember if it was or not. Um,
Oh,
yeah, but at the
it's
end
an
of
80s song.
Hamnet, what's that?
It's definitely an 80s song.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of Hamnet, they use "On the Nature of Daylight," which
Yes.
is, I would think, famously used in Arrival. Like, I think that's what most people would attach to that. Um, and that kind of got confirmed for me afterwards because there's I think the House of Cinema guy on TikTok, Joe or something,
Hmm.
made a video talking about if you hear this music, what do you associate it with? And it was like a bunch. Some people have different reactions to different songs on what films they associate it with. And to be fair, like On the Nature of Daylight is used in a few films, but I think the one he associated it with was Arrival, a massive film enthusiast. Um, so for me, when I heard that, it took me out of the film because I associate that with something different already. I do think
Mm-hmm.
it works excellent in place. Like that the usage of that song in that film works great. But I think when you have the context of how it's been used around you already, it just simply did not work for me. It's something that pulled me out of the film, and then I had to like forget that for a minute to get back into it.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that's
It's
about
very
much I have to
interesting you
say.
bring that up because when we left the cinema, I actually bumped into a few friends like on the carpet. I bumped into them again after and we were chatting away about it, and they were like, "Huh, um, I recognize that song. Like, what is that from?" And we had a whole discussion and ended up looking up. It has been used ad nauseum. There it is in so many films and TV shows,
The Last of
which is
Us.
really interesting. Yeah, it's used in The Last of Us. Yeah. Um, a plethora of others. The Last of Us and Arrival are probably the two, like the big film and the big show that it's been used in. Um, however, I mean, I would slightly disagree. I think that just speaks volumes to how enamored I was by that like final scene that it didn't pull me out. But I also think in the context of it being a Max Richter score, and it feeling very much in line with the score that came before, like the score throughout the entire movie. It just felt like an extension of that, in my opinion. Um, I didn't have that issue with it. However, like I don't think I can point to specific scenes in like film or TV where I know it's at the end of Arrival. I have not seen Arrival since I watched Arrival for like the first time. I'm due a rewatch of that movie. Um, but knowing that it is like in your top four favorites,
Hmm.
you probably have a stronger attachment to that song, so it makes complete sense why
I
that's like
guess I don't think that dismisses what I've said though. To be fair, I don't think I've seen that film more than twice, maybe three times. I have a strong attachment to it, but I don't think um, it's because of increased numbers of watches. I do just think that song is used really well in that film. Uh, and
totally, yeah.
once that happens, it's difficult to shake that from people's minds. So I don't know if that was the best song choice.
I just find it interesting where you can use pop songs are a different kettle of fish because um for me, because I think there's like added layers of trying to like nostalgia bay or like famously pop songs are used in like comedy films to like do transitional scenes because it keeps the momentum of the film going. Like it's used to trick people a lot. I think when there's like famous, especially like classical pieces, it's interesting to like the emotions at the end of this film are not the emotions at the end of Arrival, and the
Hmm.
way that the like music contextualizes both of those scenes, I think is really interesting. I just think I I don't know how their relationship came about, like why Max Richter was hired to do the score for this, but I actually think that the score for Hamnet was built around. this song because it feels like it's part of a cohesive album, and the ending track is like a final track on this like soundtrack or score. Um, it just felt contextually right to me. I know
That's
it's been
fair.
used in other
Within the
places,
film. Yeah.
but within the film, yeah, I just
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I would 1000%. Well, I would I can't say this is theoretical, but I
I would
probably would agree with
99%
you.
agree.
I probably would agree with you had there been no score or a different composer's score used throughout the movie, and then suddenly in the ending scene they're like, and the song that you all know, emotional, like fair enough, then that's whatever. That's a different I think that's a different scenario. But having the person who wrote that track and then getting them to like construct a score around that is what it
Mhm.
feels like to me. I think is interesting. I do understand where you're coming from though.
Yeah, I think I agree with you as well because, like I said before, I still think it's a good song for like encapsulating the
Uh-huh.
emotion. So, yeah, like in the context of the film itself, it works, but maybe
Hmm.
in the context of the world, for me, it doesn't work. I, I, it's weird as well though because I'm going off of like almost like release timeline, whereas Give It 30 years. Like like nobody's gonna be watching
Sure.
them
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
order. Like
Yeah.
it would become the case where someone would watch Hamnet first or only Hamnet, and that would be
Hmm.
the film that they associate the music with. So um
I'm sure there's
yeah,
other
let's go
examples
that
of
way.
that as well, where like work has been recontextualized into other work, and then that work has become more famous than the work that was recontextualized.
Yeah,
That, if that makes any
I
sense.
think I know what you mean. My brain went straight away to like Star Wars and Dune. It's not recontextualizing work, but it is something based on something. Um,
Uh,
I
uh,
don't, but I know, yeah,
or,
you're talking about the exact piece, but
uh,
used differently.
no, actually, very interesting use case is something like Star Wars, where like a theme that was made for the originals is recontextualized in the sequels, and then people start to associate, say this again is theoretical because I don't know if there is a case like this, but there's a scene in the sequels where that theme is utilized better than in the originals, and then it suddenly becomes famous for the sequels,
mm,
if that makes sense. I don't
yeah,
know if
yeah,
there's
yeah,
many cases of that though.
yeah. No,
Um,
it's this is actually a hard thing to compare to anything else, but
yeah. It's an interesting point to bring up, and honestly, it leads me to just saying how incredible the score is in general.
yeah.
It's fucking phenomenal. I feel like you want to say something.
It was on the music. Oh, you compared to it like classical pieces that get used all the time. That's
Yeah,
it's if I accept it like that, then it's fine. But I think we're at the cusp of it being that. So like, it's hard
sure,
to
okay, yeah.
accept that. Like if it does end up getting used, um, like over and over for the next 100 years in film, then I guess that changes things. But
Mm,
it's still kind of new.
yeah. Um, yeah, I adored it. I think scores are so essential at like creating atmosphere and stuff, and I think it perfectly embodies the kind of what we were speaking about, this like naturalistic portrait of their like familial life, and then also helps with the devastation of that their family goes through. Um, I guess I will keep my thoughts very brief, because I agree with basically everything that you've said. Jessie Buckley has long been one of my favorite performers. Um, she was in a movie that I highly recommend everybody go watch, called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It's directed by Charlie Kaufman. It is fucking phenomenal. It was a movie that I watched and then I immediately watched the day after because I like rewatched it immediately. Um, and partially because she is just a captivating performer. I think she really, really embodies the roles that she's playing in. And especially with Agnes, I think she just truly became that woman. Um, I think as well, with this being an adaptation of a book and a book that is very internal with her thoughts, with Agnes's thoughts. especially when like going through grief and stuff. I think she does a stellar job at displaying that throughout the film when a lot of that in the novel will be internalizations. Like it's very hard to um, you know, create things that are on the page and inside somebody's head and then display that on the screen. But I think the film does a good job at allowing room for her to portray that, and also she does an excellent job at just feeling the tragedy that has happened to her and like the letting it like really, really, really kind of like decompose her as time goes on. Like she kind of morphs as as time goes on. Um yeah, I agree with you with Paul. I enjoyed his performance as it went on, and I am interested on a rewatch if I feel slightly differently. But it wasn't that I don't want to say that he's bad because I actually don't think he's bad. I
No,
think
he's
he's very
not.
good. I think
Yeah,
it very much becomes a movie about her, and that's like right to be about
yeah.
her. I completely agree with both the brothers. I don't know if you didn't really say that like Noah Jupe gave like a great performance, but I'd love to show oh my God, water is falling. I'd love to shout him out because I'm not a big Shakespeare person, and I remember writing a review for The Tragedy of Macbeth, being like, I can appreciate that this is a spectacular film. This is probably the most I will ever enjoy Shakespeare, but again, for me, this is good, not something I'm gonna love. I was so captivated in the like final moments of I say the final moments. A large chunk of this movie is the play Hamnet, um, because you know it's what this whole thing's based off of. I was captivated by
Mm.
his performance. The language, which is a barrier, I didn't really feel it was as much of a barrier when he was performing. I think as well because you're dialed into a movie that is like operating on an emotional wavelength. And yes, throughout the movie, it's very like palatable. It's very easy to understand. In a way, it's slow. I agree with you. It's not slow cinema in the way that like Patterson or something is, but it's just more relaxed.
Hmm.
So it is letting you just like enjoy it on an emotional level. So when it comes to the latter half of the movie, and it is you're still dealing with emotions and Agnes and what she's going through, but then you have this Shakespeare's world and the world of Hamnet or Hamlet, um, still being like dialed into that frequency of understanding it emotionally and not necessarily like literally, I think is like the way to experience Shakespeare. I am pixels, I can see now.
Yeah, oh, you see that too? Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. Give me 2 secs. This is making me giggle. I'm at
That's
5%.
okay. That's okay.
Um,
No, I agree with what you're saying. The way that because you're not just watching the play, you're watching the reactions of the characters that we've already been introduced to in the film. That it's floating
yep,
around the stage and doing like reverse shots away from the stage. Like it's doing plenty to keep you engaged in why what's happening on the stage matters.
totally. Um, and no spoilers, but the ending of this movie is fucking gorgeous. Oh my Lord. I've been a bit like emotionally burnt out with some of the movies that I've been seeing. So I was like,
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna make me cry. And to be honest, I'm not really gonna gauge that as like a indication of how good the movie is because uh, like my emotional regulation has not been regulated. I don't know. So I was emotional throughout the movie, and there was like bits that like like I got choked up, and I was like teary eyed and stuff. And especially when it came to performances, especially the young boy. I want to shout him out as well. Jacoby Jupe, what a performance! You're so right.
Yeah.
He's spectacular. Um, but the ending, which is not in the book, the ending slightly different. I thought it was an absolute knockout. I truly like the. I think
It's
this
such a
is why the song
payoff.
worked for me as well. Yes, it is an emotional
Yeah.
climax, which I haven't really had time to process Hamnet thoughts, so this is kind of top of the dome. I am sure whether or not I feel like this movie is emotionally manipulative. in a good sense or in a sense that irks maybe the wrong way. I'm leaning on the side of it being good. Um, I was talking to a friend about how at the start of the movie you like it's going to be emotional. So when you're watching the like scenes where they're all joyous and happy, I actually was like crying at that because I know where the film was heading, and I do wonder if like because it was being manipulative in that way, like I don't know, is that weird? Like, is that manipulating your audience in a like what's the word? Like, I hate to just like use plain word of like negative, but like in a negative way where you are trying
Well,
to evoke a reaction out of them, and that's the point of the film.
I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at because I think all films are emotionally manipulative.
Well, yes, 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 yes. But like starting this movie and it's like, and look at the nature and everything's so beautiful and wonderful, but you know that something bad is going to happen. So it's like priming you for to be emotional. To be honest, this is just a thought that I've been processing through myself.
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
particularly think I agree with myself.
Hmm.
Um, it's
No,
just a
it's
thought that I
interesting.
wanted to explore.
I
Um,
think if you know
but
exactly what Hamnet is about, like I don't know how well general audiences know that Hamnet's like was Shakespeare's son that died. I I don't
mm,
I think more than half of the audience going to see this wouldn't know that fact.
hmm
So for me personally, like with that read, I don't think those happier moments at the start of the film feel like there's impending doom quite straight
mm.
away. Like I feel like it takes a little bit for you to then have them. It's like almost like speeds up through their happiness a little bit, and then they have kids, and I feel like it's that point where you start to see a family that are getting
Did
kind of torn apart that you start to feel something is going to happen.
Were you aware of the story going into it?
Yeah,
Oh, so you were. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I
Because
well,
it would have been
yeah,
interesting if you
yes, in the
weren't,
sense that I was
but
like, I think this is what happens because I'd heard Jack
right.
Edwards talk about the book years ago, and I was
hmm
right, but which I obviously figured out by the end of the film that I was right in what I thought was going to happen, but I wasn't, I wasn't certain.
Okay, okay. Um, Interesting. Uh yeah. Operating on a level that's just so specific to Zhao as a director. I loved Nomadland. I think Nomadland was one of those movies where it won, and then people recontextualized that film and were like, "Well, it shouldn't have won Best Picture. How did this win?"
Mm.
I love that. I love that she has carved out this lane of like natural cinema and being so in touch with like humans, um, to a level that is truly crazy. Like the performances that she's able to get from people here are magnificent. Um, I don't think it puts a foot wrong in like any of its departments.
Yeah,
Really, it just feels
yeah,
so well crafted. There's a lot of love that's put into it. And I'm scared my phone's gonna run out. I very much
that's
enjoyed the movie.
yeah. Yeah, the score thing at the end is kind of just more of a gripe with me personally. Although I do stand by the thing of like, don't use something that's famous. Um, maybe not in this case. You're talking about the way it was composed and things. Um,
Mm.
um, but there was another thing I want to say. Oh, I get the Chloe Zhao hype because I haven't seen Nomadland, and unfortunately, the only thing I'd seen was Eternals, which I had plenty of people tell
Oh.
me like wasn't her fault, and I fully believed it wasn't her fault because I know how those superhero fucking movie making machines work behind the scenes. But now I have
hmm
feasted my eyes upon something that proves to me definitely that it was not her fault that that film turned out the way it was.
Do you understand though, like going back and looking at Eternals, and
I could
I
see
don't
it
know
at the
if we've
time. I could
spoken about
see
my
her fingerprints without knowing what kind of filmmaker
yeah,
she was. Like it feels
yeah.
so different, but it felt like, and I've always said it since I watched it the first time around, it just feels like, no pun intended, like a Frankenstein of a film. Like it feels so much like there's a
Yeah.
director trying to make a real film in there, and then like this Marvel project being like, woo, look at all
Hmm.
this marvelly stuff that's going to come along in the future. Like it's so strange.
And do you know what's so annoying is because they have not done anything with those characters, they should have just let her make her own movie.
Yeah, yeah. In retrospect,
Anyway, that was Hamnet Baby. It's coming out in the UK January of next year. Sorry, people. Um, I know
actually,
it's why I was desperate
I
to see it.
feel
Yeah,
so
Wes.
fortunate. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. I did not know that.
So,
That's wild.
um, sorry that if you haven't seen it, you will have to wait. If I hadn't seen it, it would have been part of my UK distribution rant. If you have seen Hamnet though, would love to know what you think. Comments on anywhere. Send us a message.
Anyway, London Film
Yeah.
Festival.
Wow, what a transition. Definitely didn't have to change cameras and sort shit. Yeah, London Film Festival. What can I say? What a great experience it was. Actually, no, I'm being sarky. I actually did have an absolute lovely time. If anybody happens to be listening to this that I met, because I met so many people, hey, you were all super cool. Like, thanks for talking. The amount of people that I just like, I had to wait in a lot of queues, and I'd end up speaking to people for hours, and like most people were so lovely. And we had like really like fun, interesting chats. Met a woman whose like PhD was like in films, but like it was a blend of tech, and she ended up using computer vision, and that's what I previously was working on. So I ended up having like such interesting conversations with her about the work that she did. Um, just like super cool events and stuff. Like I had a great time, and everybody here has been so lovely. It is, I mean, granted, a lot of the film festivals that I've been to, um, well, they've either been Scottish or they've been international. And international, I've not spoken the same language as most of the people there. And then Scotland, I don't know why. I think 'cause they're smaller. People are just less like wanting to talk. Whereas London,
Yeah, they're
like I feel like
tiny.
everybody's just down. Yeah. So no, it was a really great experience. If anybody's listening to this, I highly recommend you do it. You don't need to. I'm very lucky that I got a press pass for like the work that I've been doing. But even if you attend the film festival as, I mean, if you're under 25, you can get a membership, and that allows you to get tickets
Damn it.
early. And if I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, 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 no. Wait. Oh, yeah.
This
By next year. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry.
the fuck, dude.
Sorry, I wouldn't. But if you are able to, even or like, look, if you're not under 25, you can still become a member, and you get access to the sales early. Um, if you want to just if you're in the area or like come down and visit, I met like really lovely people from Manchester yesterday, like the loveliest people who were looking to start a podcast, and I was like, oh my god, do it, like just do it. They were so nice. But I mean, they journeyed down for a weekend, and they were like seeing 4 or 5 movies. um if you plan it out right, or if you're willing to wait in a few queues, you can definitely see some cool stuff. So um, I don't know how you want me to do this, because as I said, I have seen like 20 films since we last spoke. Do you want me to just talk about the best of them? Do you have any questions about
Thinking, I
any?
think,
Oh,
thinking because of time, you're just your top one or two probably.
oh my God.
Does that make things difficult?
That's
What about like top one that you were like hyped up for, and then one that just took you like you had no preconceived notion of what it was going to be going in, and like how that how that was.
okay.
That sentence started off like an
Really
actual
good.
sentence, and then it just flopped.
It flopped. Wait, do you remember what I last spoke about last week? Like what
I
the
don't
film
remember
I
what
got
one
up
you
to
ended
was?
off on, to be honest. I
Did
think
I
because we
talk
got
about the
into like
Testament of
more
Anne
niche
Lee?
films, I think you did. I think.
Yeah, okay. So I think that was the last one that I ended on. Oh, that's hard. That's really hard. Uh,
Irish Jack?
oh, yes, that's me. Um, I think right. What I'll do is I'll maybe just like name because I'm not going to review them. I'll just give like quick impressions because I imagine some of these we will review. But stuff that stood out to me um was let's go with I mean, it was just an accident. The Pam Dor winner is fucking phenomenal. Go see that when you can. Um, that's not a hot take or anything. I mean, it won the top prize in Cannes. Like, you know, it is spectacular though. It is about. Actually, I don't even. I literally don't even want to say what it's about because it's a very, very simple movie. Um, not much happens plot wise, but it's very profound in the way that it exemplifies the pain of the people who were like victims of the Iranian regime, and I highly recommend it. Um, one that blew me away that I think we have planned to talk about is Sentimental Value, which actually maybe we don't. Huh. Sentimental Value, which is the latest film from Joachim Trier, who did The Worst Person in the World. This time he's teamed back up with Renée Reinsve and Stellan Skarsgård is in this movie, and it is about a kind of absentee father. Which, by the way, theme of the festival: absentee dads. There's like
Mm.
5 billion movies I saw that were all about a father like that left people, and I mean Hamnet even. Do you know? Um, Sentimental Value. It's it's very different to The Worst Person in the World, where I think this film feels a lot older. It's about this like dad who comes back into his daughter's lives. He's a film director, and one of his daughters is a actress in the theater, and he wants her to play this role in a movie that he's wrote. And it is kind of autobiographical. It's about their lives in some sort of way, and the daughter refuses, and instead he hires a an American actress played by Elle Fanning to play this part, and it's about her like coming into their lives, and it's like an assessment of their family life through childhood, and the reflections of the father who's now like came back into their lives, um, kind of just bringing up the emotions that they had towards him as children, and also where his frame of his like his mindset is in terms of how he wants to move forward with his daughter's relationships. It is utterly gorgeous. Like the way it's very, very refrained and stripped back, but what it has to say about um I mean, look, I don't know if this is the takeaway that everybody got, but what it has to say about like love languages and the way that we express love to different people in our lives, especially from the point of view of a father. Um, I'm making general wow, broad sweeping generalizations about fathers globally, but I think it is kind of this stereotype that you know, especially older men are like less emotionally forward and they're less lovey-dovey for less of an intellectual word. But the way that men, again, generalizations, express love and the different ways that do that, and um how when people don't have the same love languages, it can feel like people don't love each other, but actually they do. They just love in different ways. I thought it was utterly gorgeous, and the final scene wrecked me. It's just a good ass movie. Um,
Did you have a
so I really
tally? You should
enjoyed
have a
that.
tally, for like the amount of times that you got wrecked by a film. That should have been something that
Oh,
you tallied as you went along.
I might get back to you on that because I have done that for other like when I've made my way through different franchises and
Like
shit.
Pixar
Like,
or something. Like I think they're
yeah, I
doing
have a
that for the
cry
film
counter.
festival. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually might do that when I because I'm yet to like write up all the reviews and stuff yet. So I might do that. Um, so yeah, want to shout out that and just make my way through the list. I want to shout out After the Hunt, which is something we may talk about. It depends on whether or not you will see it in the next 2 weeks, whether or not you were planning to. I don't know if you were.
I wasn't. I did kind of think I have a free evening after this call ends, depending on how quick we are. And I think there is a showing on. So I'm like, instead of getting like real food and editing, I might go and watch film. I don't know. We'll see.
Um, I'm a big Guadagnino person. Um, but I don't want that to like sully my review of it. I've sat with this movie for a while. It like delayed my writing of other movies because I people have been so quick to dismiss this film. It's out, by the way, for anybody who's like wanting to see it. It came out on Friday.
Mm.
Um, so I just saw it like a smidge early. But at the other festivals it premiered at, people people I've seen have just been very negative about it, very quick to judge, and I think it's because of the topic that it's dealing with. It's dealing with essay and very like triggering topics, and it's also dealing with the generational response to that. And I fear that some people think the movie is attacking Gen Z about their way that they handle things like this. But I think that is such a reduction of what the movie is. I think the movie is very messy. I actually want to rewatch it myself because I don't know if that messiness is. I think it is partially the point up until a point. I then
Hmm.
think the movie tries to add layers and overcomplicate itself, where it's like you're losing the sentiment of what you're trying to get across. And I think that's apparent in the reviews and stuff. I'm not saying that these like negative reviews are out of pocket and I don't understand where they're coming from. I fully understand that. I think people are watching the movie and they're clocking out at a certain point because they don't want to engage with the conversation that it's having. Because it's a very um, it's a very provoking conversation. I mean, the line from the trailer where Julia Roberts is like, "It's not supposed to make you comfortable," has kind of been this like mantra for the film. Um, and I kind of like that as a concept, but then people have to engage with it intellectually. You have to sit with it. And I think as well, the dialogue is very intellectual because it's set in a university and it's philosophy professors and they are being like very like up here with their dialogue. But like sit with it and engage with it, and I think you might get a lot out of it. I personally think it is looking at the ways that Gen Z and then older generations, specifically women, have had to deal with stuff like this. There's a whole plethora of issues, but boiling it down to just essay, because that's what they do with this movie. And it really, to me, is it's criticizing both sides, and I think in an interesting, balanced way. But it's looking at Julia Roberts' character and being like, how horrible that women had to go through this idea where they were meant to repress their emotions and their and things that happened to them for fear of never moving forward in their careers or for fear of like blacklisting themselves from XYZ, and how that has seeped into other areas of her life. And not only that, but how that is bleeding through to other generations. And I think it's so, I've literally just thought of this now. I think it's so interesting that she's a professor. She's in a position of power where she's supposed to impart knowledge on younger people. But if her knowledge is so like corrupt and like malfunctioning, like to a from a Gen Z's perspective, there's going to be that's going to rub Gen Z the wrong way. I just think it's really interesting this like externalization that Gen Z have of like, I'm gonna let my problems known because this happened to me, versus the previous like generation's idea of internalize that shit, and then that message being like spread forward when maybe women are seeing other women getting the opportunities that they didn't have when they were younger, getting to be like, this person essayed me or whatever, and then there being repercussions for that. Women looking back on their lives and being like, well, if I did that when I was your age, I would have been the martyr. I would have been like dismissed. Nobody would have believed me. And maybe the tides are turning, but other older women's like displeasure at that, because it's, I mean, in a way they're happy that, other generations are moving forward, but sad that that wasn't the case when they were younger. I found it fascinating. I do think the ending, it adds too much. It's not a perfect film, but I also think it's nowhere near a bad movie, and I still think it is. I think it's probably the worst Guadagnino movie I've seen, but I still think it belongs in his like oeuvre of films. I still enjoyed it. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on it, actually.
Yeah, no, that actually sounds really interesting, to be honest. Um,
It it is one of those movies that I'm like, genuinely, if a friend has seen it, I want to like have a call with them or like voice note them or message or something, because um it's, yeah, the sentiment of leaving that screening as well, being like, ah, what was it even about? And I did feel that way. I think actually leaving it, it throws so much at you that you're like, well, what are you trying to say?
mm.
Um, Very interesting movie though. Um, were you gonna say something?
No, I think I might have burped and that might have come through on
Oh,
the microphone.
that's
No, that
so
does sound
funny.
interesting, especially if it's not like it's having those conversations and it is like they're talking about like philosophy for professors discussing it, but that gives the perfect context to have those conversations without it being like exposition.
Hmm.
That I'm assuming that's how it kind of came across.
I also think part of the issue is like the characters aren't likable. Like these aren't likable people. You don't want to sit in these like big, like large conversations about life and stuff when somebody's been essayed. And also like the what I find really interesting is, do I want to say that? Yeah. Iowa Beery's character is not likable. She's not a likable character in this. That does not mean that the things that happen to her should be dismissed or should not be believed because she's unlikable. And I think there's a really interesting tension there. Um, yeah, fascinating movie. Uh, I guess I'll quickly mention just mention a few. I saw a movie called Sarat, which did really well at Cannes. I saw that in the BFI IMAX. If you are able to see this in IMAX at all, you have to. It was a wonderful experience. It is about the rave scene in Spain, um,
Sounds
kind of,
awesome.
um, and it's about a person who goes missing, and they're going to look for that person, and it's about life and death and um, spontaneity and like freedom. It's very interesting. I don't want to say much. The director was there, and he was a very Chloe Zhao type of person. But that came across, and I genuinely, it's something that should be seen in the biggest scene. I've never seen people's like jump physically as much as they did during this. It was great. Um, Blue Heron. I just want to shout out. Um, it is a directorial debut by. I wish I had the woman's name in front of me. Um, oh my God, she was even there. Whatever. A woman. She's made a lot of shorts based on like grief and like processing grief and stuff. And this was her like debut feature, which is one of the most stunning movies I've ever seen. It's up there with the After Suns. This was my like shock of the festival. It's um it's fictional, but then it becomes this other thing, and it's blending reality, and it's super interesting. But it's basically about her parents and her siblings and her brother who suffered. I don't know what you would call what he suffered from. Like he basically was not. He didn't feel anything when he was a kid. He was just like not there. Um, and it is about her as an adult trying to process what happened to her brother through the lens of her being a kid, and her at that age just being her older brother, but now that she's older, trying to understand what he was going through. Profound, gorgeous filmmaking. That'll bring a tear to your eye. And very quickly, Wasteman, great movie, great movie. If you have stocks in David Johnson, you are going to do very well and reap the rewards with this movie. He's spectacular in it. It's him and Tom Blythe, who I think is also phenomenal. Um, it is like a gritty, realistic portrayal of men in a prison, and it's fucking intense, like really, really intense. Up there with people were like jumpy in that Surratt screening, but like this is the most I think I've seen people scream at like not a horror movie. It's just visceral. And Richard Linklater has two movies, one Nouvelle Vague and two Blue Moon, and I thought they were both fucking spectacular. And a reminder that I don't know, he's up there with some of my favorite writers. I think he writes people so wonderfully. So I'd highly recommend both them. Both of them are like his takes on pieces of history, I guess. Nouvelle Vague is about oh my god, his name's escaping me. The director of Breathless, Jean-Luc Godard, and the French New Wave cinema. And it's if you like film, I think you'll enjoy that. And Blue Moon is about I can't remember the guy's name. Basically, the guy who wrote musicals with Rogers before it was Hammerstein. Uh, and it is about the opening night of Oklahoma, which was Roger and Hammerstein's first musical. It is about the perspective of the other guy who wrote songs with him, who is like dealing with the success of his partner with a new writer, and it's
Mm.
basically just Ethan Hawke in a bar talking for an hour and a half, and it's just incredible. He gives one of my favorite performances of his that I've seen in a very long time. It's truly great.
Yeah, I like Ethan Hawke a lot.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I actually, it was one of the things I remember distinctly listening to a podcast that was like, "Oh, Maya Hawke's great. She's like better than both of her parents." And I was like, yeah, I would agree with that because I actually really like Maya Hawke. I think I just
Me too,
dismissed
but
Ethan Hawke though
yeah, Ethan
in
Hawke's
doing that.
great. I mean,
Yeah,
even like uh, even in Moon Knight. Um,
I mean, yeah, you maybe picked out his
don't know
worst
if yeah,
performance.
don't know if I stick by that, but like, given that even that is his first performance, like you think about all the villains we've had in like the TV shows and things, I feel like that sticks out.
Yeah, I would agree.
Um,
Kind of. Anyway.
well, aside from like Kang, like
Oh, let's not go
oh
there.
Agatha, okay, there is a tier list, but we've had some real shitters too.
That's true. Pardon.
Excellent.
Thanks.
I don't have a question for us this week.
Um, oh, awesome. Well, thanks so much for listening. To episode number 43. Coming up on 50. Mad.
I know.
Of
Well, I'm
Potchill.
thinking 52 is crazy.
Yeah. I think we have the benefit of because we started at the start of the year. Um, it's very easy to keep track of that way. Uh, Next week we will be talking about Frankenstein, or Owen will be talking about Frankenstein.
Indeed.
It's so annoying as well because the week that releases, I should have been able to see it because it comes out on Netflix, but I want to try catch it in a cinema. Or do I? Maybe throughout my conversation, I will have my mind
I
changed.
think you will.
Yeah, knowing me.
Yeah.
um, and not good fortune
Good
as well.
fortune. I think Roofman's probably the biggest one of all the. Maybe not. Yeah. The most like the one that the general public will know the most about would be Roofman. The four that you said that I should probably watch, probably.
I
I think it was
imagine
4.
so, but After the Hunt has been getting like mad promotion.
Right, okay.
But who knows? Anyway, join us for those salacious conversations next week. And follow
Excellent.
us on
YouTube,
and
Spotify,
and
Apple Podcasts, not iTunes, TikTok,
and
Instagram. Is there a big
we'll
delay?
see you
It
next
seems there's a
week.
big delay.
Probably.
Bye.
Bye.